The first thing is understanding conversion metrics and really getting rid of everything else. Like even like something like website visits. Like, I've been around CEOs who have Google Analytics up in real time to see how many people are on their website, right? Great. Awesome. Like none of that really matters. What does matter, conversions, right? And so I think obviously there are some of these stats that are indicators to conversion rates. Like I'm not saying not to like necessarily pay attention to all the data and how it flows together, but really put a notion on conversion metrics, because that's what's going to be most important. That's what's going to change your business. And that's really where your focus needs to be.
Welcome to the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast, the highly rated digital marketing podcast that provides weekly digital marketing tips and strategies from some of the world's top digital marketers and e-commerce entrepreneurs that will help you take your digital marketing to the next level. Sit back and enjoy this power-packed episode hosted by Arlen Robinson, who is an e-commerce entrepreneur and digital marketing expert with over 20 years of experience. Hey, e-commerce marketing podcast listener. Are you looking to increase traffic and sales to your website? You can do this by launching your own affiliate program. Just visit getosi.com and sign up for a free trial today. That's getosi.com. Now get ready to hear from your e-commerce marketing expert of the week as they drill down to give you details on marketing strategies that can help grow your business.
Welcome back to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast, everyone. My name is Arlen and I am your host. And today we have a very special guest, Austin LaRoche, who is the CEO of Attack Interactive. And today we're going to be talking about mastering the customer lifecycle strategies for attracting, converting, and closing customers. Welcome to the podcast, Austin.
Hey, how's it going, Arlen? How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. And, super excited to talk to you because, I think we're going to be covering different aspects of the funnel, the marketing funnel that most e-commerce businesses are familiar with. And so I'm really interested to dive in because I know this is something that you're dealing with all the time with your agency. But before we dive into that, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into what you're doing today?
Yeah, I stumbled into marketing. I was in grad school trying to figure out what I was going to do, and I got a internship at the Chicago Tribune in something called social media in 2008, and I was able to parlay that into another internship in SEO, and was able to really start understanding more and more about digital marketing. When it comes to being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of different types of entrepreneurs. I like to refer to myself as a pain in the butt type of entrepreneur who is not good at working for other people. And so I parlay these two internships, and I just had to start my own company. And
Gotcha.
we're going to fast forward through years of failure trying to get things up and running to the point where I was actually working successfully and was able to really establish a strong company, and that company got acquired by a web development company called Attack Interactive. And we were able to merge those companies and become a full service agency that could offer all things strategy, marketing, development, creative, and as well as marketing technology.
Right.
So that merger happened in 2014. So I've been here for about 10 years. And man, we've watched the just the landscape changed dramatically, right? There's been so many different ups and downs, and even when I first started, when I first merged my company with Attack, when we were building e-com stores, we were doing a lot on Magento. Like Magento was getting a lot of that focus, and over time, that's evolved a lot more over to Shopify. But we've worked
Yes.
on some other platforms as well. But at our core, I feel like I always say that our mission is to help companies utilize the latest technology to grow their business.
Right.
That's kind of broad, and that's kind of purposeful as
Mhm.
well. But whether you're an e-com company or a B2B company, everybody is looking to grow. And if we can continue to figure out the latest and greatest tools to help customers do that, then that gives us a great advantage and a great opportunity to actually be able to, create an impact for our clientele.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, because that's especially these days. I can imagine you guys being super busy because there are so many solutions out there. It's if you're not on your side of things, like the agency side that has dealt with a whole plethora of tools and seen what works, what doesn't, what specific tools are right for certain companies, then I feel like a lot of companies are in the blind sometimes these days, just kind of picking and choosing, signing up for a ton of free trials and then just trying to figure out what works. So it's good to know that, there's companies like you that can help businesses navigate through this, the crazy world of all of these solutions that are out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a super saturated field, right? Like,
Yes.
there's so many different tools, and I think there's great intent along all of those, right? We're all
Right.
trying to figure out how to help the right companies get the right traction that they're looking for. But
Mhm.
one thing that I've come to realize is that there, because of all that stuff and all that noise, like, it's easier to simplify things for people. And
Yes.
if you can simplify things into a simple framework that they can wrap their head around, then they at least can understand the purpose and the intent of what they're doing, and then
Mhm.
have proper expectations.
Right. Yep. Exactly. That's really the bottom line. But like you said, most of these businesses, it's no fault of theirs. There's a good intent out there. It's just a bit saturated now. So that is how it is. Now, of course, at the top of the episode, I mentioned that, of course, we're going to be talking about the various aspects of the customer's journey, the funnel, from tracking, converting, closing customers. What would you see, and from your end of the business, what are some common mistakes that you've seen businesses make in that attract stage of the funnel, and how can they avoid them?
I think at first, especially for a young company, I think putting all of your eggs in one basket is just, fingers crossed that it works, but so many times it doesn't. There's no plan B, right?
Mhm.
So, what I would always advise customers to do is take that marketing budget and diversify it, because if nobody knows who you are and you want to get them to your website to buy a product, your website to fill out a form, whatever your conversion metric is, you know you're gonna want to be able to try a lot of different channels, right?
Mhm.
So if you're, advertising to, on social, typically you're advertising to a demographic, right? Whereas if you're advertising on search, you're advertising to a need, somebody who needs what you have. And so,
Mhm.
you know based on who you are, you've got to look at different avenues, right? You've got to look at different tools, look at different channel partners, referral partners, and really figure out what that looks like. A lot of people will even invest in something like press, and they'll have be seen in a couple places. They'll have the right mechanisms, and they'll realize that, oh my gosh, I I'm tracking all the traffic that's coming from this awesome piece of press that I got, and I'm realizing that,
Mhm.
like, people are coming to my site and checking it out, and then they're leaving.
Right.
And so, part of that attract phase is definitely getting, diversifying. But the other thing is setting yourself up for that convert stage that comes
Right.
next. Because if
Right.
you are investing on all of that, and all of you're doing is looking at web traffic, and you
Mhm.
say, "Oh my gosh, I just, we got on this site, and this site, and we got, 1,000 new people came to the website today, but we don't know how many conversions." Well, then you're not able to measure anything properly, and so
Yes.
all of the purpose and intent that comes from, marketing in 2024 diminishes, and you're back to, the way they were in the old days, throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks.
Yeah, exactly. It's yeah, interesting that you mentioned that, because and I've seen this just in my world of dealing with a lot of these different e-commerce businesses, and so much of the focus is, it really is on that attract phase, because we have all of these solutions, you have all these ways of marketing, you have the social media advertising that you can do. It's easy to set up all of these campaigns, and so it's just such a push to just attract all these customers to the site. But like you said, if you're not in a position to convert them correctly, or at least um, get a lead from them where you can, do some remarketing, retargeting back to them, then it's just almost a waste of even those visitors coming into your site. Now, with marketing and with e-commerce, of course, there's two different areas. There's B2C and there's B2B. I'm of course familiar with the B2B side because we're a SaaS company and we're dealing with businesses. A lot of our listeners and viewers are on the B2B side as well. How would you say the approach to converting leads differs between B2B and B2C types of businesses?
Well, I think there's certainly the timeline expectation, right?
Okay.
So on the SaaS side, right, you're going to bring somebody in. They're just the social norm is that they're going to want to see a demo. They're going to want to see how it works. They're going
Yes.
to want to, hopefully even get a free trial. So you've got just this timeline where, you're looking at these things, attract, okay, how are we going to get them to the website? Once they're there, we're going to convert them into a demo, okay? All right, we get them now. We've got them in the marketing funnel. Now we got to close them as a customer. Well, we've got a free trial. Well, how's that experience? How are we helping them adopt and really understand the technology in that phase? And then once they come on board, they sign that contract. How are we going to delight the heck out of them so they stay here forever and just need our software to function?
Mm-hmm.
That takes months for some companies
Yeah, it
and
does.
products. It takes years.
Right.
Now, on the B2C side, I was joking, my business partner today was calling Instagram his new shopping mall because he'll get a new ad. Oh, this looks like a cool pair of jeans company. He'll
Right.
click on it. If they can convince him with whatever whatever's on that product page that,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is at least worth it, free returns if you don't like it, whatever makes him feel comfortable and eases customer hesitation, and he
Mm-hmm.
hits buy. I mean, that takes place in seconds and
Yeah.
sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So you're thinking that the same prism. How do you get them to come to us? How do you get them to take that first leap? And then how do you take them to get the big leap? But the timeline has to happen. You get a lot more chances at the plate with B2B.
Mm.
And a lot of times it's because it's more intricate, right? It's
Yeah,
a
it
little
is.
bit harder to understand a software that's going to change your life versus a pair of jeans that you can always send back anyway.
Yeah.
But it's just understanding that about your buyer, and then just knowing at that point how to get your marketing material or your marketing materials as well as your process
Mm.
to meet the customer where they're at.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. And from the B2B world, you're right. You have businesses have more of an opportunity to to win the customer over because, like you said, that journey from signing up for a demo or for a free trial could be, a 7 day period, could be a 14-day period, could be a month period, and like you said, even longer, could be, several months. And so during that time period, there's things that you can do to win them over. And even if you make mistakes along the way, or you kind of drop the ball, or the customer has issues, you still have an opportunity to kind of win them over. So it's a little bit different. But of course, like you said, the B2C, these things happen in seconds. And so that whole process of getting these leads is yeah, definitely a lot quicker. You're probably going to get a lot larger or an influx more of leads. And even if somebody signs up, like you said, they buy some jeans, they don't like them, they return them, you still have that lead there that you can market to them. You can send them ads or emails for other types of jeans, that type of thing. So it's a little bit different, of course, of a process. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about, of course, you at the track phase, you're getting this bulk amount of customers coming to the site, and once they're there, the thing, of course, that you're going to want to do is convert them. Now, let's say there's a business that's going through all that, they're getting this influx of leads, but they're struggling to close these sales despite having this high volume. What would you say are some of the first steps that they should take?
Well, I think we should first figure out who where these people are coming from and
Mhm.
why, right?
Okay.
I think a lot of times SEO pats themselves on the back for getting traffic to your website. Hey, we're way up in these searches. Well,
Hmm.
let me tell you a story about my company. Way back in 2016, at the end of 2016, I was like, hey, what if we promote some of the websites we designed this year, and like we have like this great SEO headline like beautiful websites for 2017 inspiration or whatever. All right. And so we got that published in like December, get a little head start on the 2017 cycle. And then 90% of our traffic came from that blog post that next year. And all it was kind of like a gallery of the different um, websites that we had designed the previous year. And we
Mhm.
got all this traffic. We put all these great visual CTAs. We did everything we could to get this page to convert.
Mhm.
Zero conversions.
Wow.
Now, why? Because it wasn't our buyers who were searching for beautiful websites in 2017. It was
Mhm.
people looking for inspiration. It was young graphic designers who wanted. So it's, when you're thinking about how people are coming to your website, you got to think, are they even the target market?
Okay,
Right?
got it.
How are we getting the target market there? And so if it is something like SEO or search, you need much more bottom of the funnel keywords bringing people in. If you're a SaaS application, you want people looking for blank software, not just not just
Mhm.
looking for e-commerce, right? People want to learn,
Yes.
because you got a lot of people. The internet is a great place to go and find out a lot of information and misinformation. And, and through that journey, we've all gone and been in a bit of a research phase. But if
Right.
you're getting a ton of people who are coming in or just in a research phase, and nobody's taking it to the next step, then you got to really think some things through. Now, one thing I always say is, how can we create as many conversion paths based on where the customer's at, right? And so on the B2B side, there's a ton of that, right? We got a phone number right there.
Right.
We got a contact us button. We've got and we got a calendar right here. You can book a demo if you want, right?
Mhm.
We can go right here. Oh, you can download our little PDF so we give you all of those options. That's easier on the B2B side. On the B2C side,
Yeah.
essentially, even like when you're advertising, you're going to that product page and you want somebody to buy immediately. Now,
Yes.
if they're not buying immediately, why is that? I would
Mhm.
say one of the key indicators would be, what type of social proof do they see? What makes them feel comfortable that they went from just hanging out on Instagram to seeing your ad? And now why do they think they should spend $50 with you?
Yeah.
Right? Do they see other people on your social media liking all of your stuff and engaging? Do they see consumer reviews? Do they see anyone that they find to be influential talking about your brand? So those are things that I would always consider. And that the same is also there a bit on the B2B side too, right?
Mhm.
Social proof. We like case studies. We like testimonials. We like anybody who was once in our shoes and is now better off because they bought that product or service that the company is promoting. So I would look at your conversion paths as well as the social proof if
Okay.
you're not getting the traction you're looking for once you get people to the website.
Right. Good stuff. And yeah, you mentioned kind of a critical thing that I see a lot of businesses making the mistake of, because in those cases where they're getting the bulk amount of traffic and all of these potential leads coming to the site, and then they're like, okay, we're getting these, we're looking at our web stats, they're coming through, they're not buying. I think a lot of times businesses make the mistake of immediately saying, our site is broke. There's something wrong with the site. Maybe it's the checkout flow. Oh, we got to redo the, we got to switch shopping cart platform. Shopify is no good. Or, something else is wrong. Or the design is not right. And so I think that's the first impulse, which in some cases, maybe that is the problem. But like you said, you got it before you even look at that, you got to see, all right, are these the right leads is there a good match for these particular leads that we're getting for our particular product? And because like you said, maybe the majority of these leads are just not the right fit. They don't match with your particular products, your offering, and so they're just coming to the site and they're just bouncing away immediately. So yes, I think that's very important, that you establish that first before digging into the site, making major changes, because and a lot of times it may not be the case. Now we're talking about, a lot of this whole life cycle, customer life cycle, from the leads, attracting to the leads and the conversion. What would you say, in your view, are some of the most overlooked aspects of the whole life cycle? And why would it be crucial to focus in on these things?
I think it's delighting the customer. I mean, I
Okay.
feel like everybody, high fives. They get the win. They get that they get the first conversion. Someone's interested, then they close. They get the money. The commerce has gone through, and then they're on to the next one.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that we recognize, if you just even look at something as simple as like Yelp, right?
Yeah.
Who spends time writing a 3-star review, right?
Yeah,
Right? You
exactly.
either you either see people who were blown away or,
Yes.
more likely, disappointed. But I feel like as customers, when we see something that is excellent and is something like we believe in, we
Mhm.
want to share that with everybody, right? If we have a terrible interaction or we have a terrible problem with a product or service and we call customer service and oh my gosh, we get somebody on the phone and they're so nice and they help us,
Mhm.
like it's the best. And like you're going to tell everybody about it just organically. And that to me is like, obviously having the best product or service you can is step one of delighting a customer.
Yes.
And and in the B2B space, people can go even further. Oh my gosh, you're one of our biggest customers, we're going to take you on these trips or, out to fancy dinners,
Right.
whatever. And, that stuff I think is a little less authentic, but
Yeah.
maybe even just educating your customers, like if they're in your field, right? If you're a B2B company and, you're a SaaS application and figuring out why they're using it, figure out what adjacent problems you can help them solve, and then be able to create content that helps them understand how to use your product better, how,
Mhm.
where the industry's going, the kind of things that make them go, my gosh, like this is really great. I'd actually even call out, I'm not one for like company newsletters, especially this day and age. They mostly go to the promotions folder, but
Right.
I feel like Shopify's done an excellent job for almost
Mhm.
a decade now with their, with their newsletter and just like really creating content that's like, oh, this is interesting and helps me learn more and makes me like Shopify more.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very true. Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of times I know, these businesses, as far as the lighting aspect of it and making sure that they have a good experience once they're a customer. Yeah, it can be a difficult thing because they spend so much time getting that customer, converting them, attracting them, and then getting them in the funnel. It's like their experience when they're at the site and when they're a customer sometimes does become a little bit of an afterthought. And but it could definitely come back to bite you, because like you said, people are, when you're looking at Yelp or some of these other sites or even Amazon, people are either going to leave that 1-star review or that 5-star review. That's it. Nobody's going to take the time to write a paragraph of a 3-star review. So it's typically one way or the other. So you have just a little bit of a chance to really wow that customer. And speaking of delighting customers, in your world with the companies that you've dealt with, or just in your knowledge in general, could you share a real life example of a company that you've seen that excels in delighting its customers, and what strategies did they use?
Yeah, I would say that one of the difficulties that people do have with this is measuring the ROI of evangelism.
Yeah,
So it can be a little bit difficult. But
sure.
one company that we've worked with for a long time, they are a franchise, and a franchise of kids gyms that
Hmm.
cater to children on the autism spectrum. They're called We Rock the
Okay.
Spectrum,
Okay.
and they're what they're able to do in different communities and to be able to help this group of people who typically don't get kids gyms catered to their to their population
Mhm.
really inspires other people to want to be the person in their community to bring this this play haven for children who are on the spectrum to their community. And
Mhm.
so we've seen that by offering this amazing experience to every child who comes in, and then which essentially becomes offering this to a community. It inspires people in other places who either they see them on social media or they see them in the press. They're like, oh my gosh, I want to start one of these for my community because they see how much they care and how passionate they are about serving this particular market with something that they haven't been able to get anywhere else.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. That's because it's a unique market. So they know, they really have to do a lot of things to really cater to that particular market once they do get those customers.
Yeah, I'll give you a perfect example. If you're in a
Mhm.
normal children's gym and
Yeah.
a child starts breaking down, I think
Yeah.
parents are very much like, "Oh my gosh, like let me remove my child from the situation."
Right. Right.
Whereas if all of a sudden in that situation you had a lot of other parents who were like, "It's okay. Like
Hmm.
we know how it is. You're fine. Like don't worry about it." I mean, my
Hmm.
gosh, what a emotional relief and just that's the kind of place you're like, "Okay, that's where I want to be." And
Yeah.
so it really does speak to that market tremendously.
Yeah, I see that for sure. It's a great example. As we get ready to wrap things up, Austin, what would you say are three actionable tips that a business could implement today to just improve their customer lifecycle management?
I would say the first thing
Mhm.
is understanding conversion metrics and really getting rid of everything else.
Okay.
Like even like something like website visits. Like I've been around CEOs who have Google Analytics up in real time to see how many people are on their website.
Right.
Right? Great. Awesome. Like none of that really matters. What
Yeah.
does matter? Conversions, right? And so I think obviously there are some of these stats that are indicators to conversion rates. Like I'm not I'm not saying not to like necessarily pay attention to all the data and how it flows together, but really put a notion on conversion metrics because that's what's going to be most important. That's what's going to change your business, and that's really where your focus needs to be.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say the next thing is simplifying that.
Hmm.
I think there's a lot of, I know I have teammates that where it's like, why would we create a simple report when we can create a super robust one with every
Hmm.
single data point? It's like, well, then I get lost.
Right.
Okay. I literally want to see week over week these specific stats, right? Give
Hmm.
it to me like as a scorecard. And I think, you know, maybe my advice might be keep it simple if that's who you are, but also if you do like have your reports meet you where you're at in a way that's going to help you dictate what actions need to happen based off of these numbers,
Hmm.
right? And that is I think that is really important because there's a million reports, analytics data, it's so big, whatever. But if you
Hmm.
can first define what actually is important, and two, create it in a way that is easy to digest and you're looking at it frequently, then you're going to use data to dictate action, which is really what we're looking for. And then the last thing that I would do is, and I think especially in ecom and SaaS, I might be preaching to the choir here, but please, please, please prioritize performance marketing over brand marketing.
Yeah.
Really look at metrics and see what is actually moving the needle. the
Hmm.
you know Marketing will forever be the combination of an art and a science, but the science has never been so good and
Hmm.
has never been, the numbers have never been able to tell us so much. And if you spend more time diving into the numbers and figuring out how to get those to scale, I think you'll realize that by doing that, as opposed to like arguing over a font or a color of logos, you're going to put a lot more of your brain power into the activities that are actually going to help growth, as opposed to the things that are subjective and people get paid way too much money to sit in a room and argue about.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those are some great examples, and specifically the simplicity of your reporting and focusing on just a few of those key metrics. I think is key because these days there all of these reporting tools will give you so much, and a lot of that does like you said doesn't make sense. It doesn't even give you any type of insight. So there's just a few things you need to focus on, and you got to kind of ignore all of these flashy tools that can show you all of these charts, these graphs, this data. All of that really doesn't matter. The bottom line is the conversions and what's really happening with those customers that are coming to the site that are those right customers. So yeah, those are some great tips. Well, this has been an awesome conversation, Austin. I've definitely learned a lot. I know our listeners and viewers have as well. I always like to switch gears here with my last question, just so we can get to know you a little bit better. If you don't mind sharing one closing fun fact about yourself that you think we'd be interested to know.
Oh, fun fact. Oh my gosh. I've got like a lot of little random ones, but I'll just say that I have been on the front page of 3 different newspapers for 3 completely random reasons.
Okay.
Once as a child in a zoo, once moving out of my dorm in Tallahassee, Florida, and once trying to get rid of the rain at a big music festival in the Atlanta, Georgia area.
Okay.
So somehow
Awesome.
I've been able to get to the front page by doing absolutely nothing but being at the right place at the right time.
Okay, good stuff. Well, maybe you could keep that going and add a fourth front page to your resume.
Come on,
Yeah.
LA Times. That's what's next, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Maybe
Well,
I'll
good.
earn it this time, huh? That's what I got to do.
All
Although I don't
right.
know, getting on the front page, typically you don't do that for something positive. I think you're like
Yeah,
anymore.
you're all right about that. Usually, people on that front page are infamous, I guess you could say, for
Yeah, maybe
doing
I
some.
shouldn't be going for number 4, huh?
Yeah, maybe
Uh,
not. Well, thanks for sharing that, Austin. That's been great for having you on. Lastly, before we do let you go, if you don't mind sharing the best way for our listeners and viewers to reach out to you if they want to pick your brain anymore about funnels and attracting customers, what's the best way for them to
Definitely on
reach you?
LinkedIn
Okay.
is my the best individually. My name Austin LaRoche, AUSTIN LAROCHE, and then check out our website www.atakinteractive.com, and you can see a little bit more about what my company does to help people navigate this customer life cycle.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. We'll definitely have that link, that info in our show notes. So we'll definitely encourage people to reach out to you there. And it's definitely been a pleasure once again, Austin. We appreciate you having you on the e-commerce marketing podcast.
Thanks so much, Arlen.
Thank you for listening to the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with everyone you know. Are you looking to take your digital marketing to the next level but are tired of weeding through countless YouTube videos with unproven and untrusted marketing strategies? Well, we have the answer for you. The More Sales Every Month online digital marketing course. In this information-packed course, you will learn effective keyword research, link building, content marketing, and much more to attract and convert your site visitors into paying customers. Just go to moresaleseverymonth.com and sign up today for a low one-time fee. In addition to this power-packed course, if you would like to get access to a growing repository of digital marketing articles, PDFs, and ebooks, check out getosi.com/resources and opt in to get full access to our library of priceless marketing information to help you take your digital marketing to the next level.